Good morning, second graders. Today is Tuesday, May 5th. I hope you all had a wonderful long weekend since you had Friday and Monday off with no schoolwork. Before we get started today, I want to wish a very happy birthday to Perla. Her birthday was last Thursday on April 30th, and I forgot to mention it on my Thursday video. So I wanted to tell you happy birthday today, and I hope you had a day just as special as you are. I hope that your parents have all picked up your distance learning packet. Your third and final distance learning material bag should have come home yesterday. If it didn't, I hope they call the office so that they can make arrangements to pick that up sometime today. I'm going to just walk through a couple of things about what's in your folder so that you know what we're doing in the next 4 weeks. The first thing in your folder on the left was your math packet. Okay, so I know we sent home your math book in your desk, all of your desk items that came home. That's not what we're going to be using for math each day. We pulled the pages out of your math book that we will be working on and stapled them together in a packet, just like we did last time. So you will need this packet when you sit down to do your learning on our video each day. Okay, if you want to do extra pages in your math book, that's fine. But for your learning each day on the video, you're going to need your math packet that was in your folder. Okay. Another thing that was in your folder was your second grade distance learning reading packet. So once again, don't work ahead on these. We're going to do these on the video so that you'll know exactly what to do when we get to it. Okay. And then we put Scholastic News in there and some science spins. We even put them in the correct order that we'll use them. So don't mess those up. The sheet slips into the correct Scholastic News that we'll do, and we even stuck them in the right order. So leave those there so that you have those when we need those as well. And the last thing that we put in there was your second grade memory book. And this is something that we usually make at the end of every year, but because we couldn't be together at school, we wanted to send some pages that we would do together on our video so that you could have a nice keepsake for second grade. So that is in your folder as well. So I don't want you to start any of these pages yet because we'll do these together and I'll guide you through them on our video when the time comes. So if you see on your matrix that it says a memory book page, we're talking about this booklet right here. So keep this safe, all right? So those are what's in your distance learning folder. And today we are going to start another book. I hope you enjoyed the Magic Treehouse books that we read, but now we are going to just do some different reading activities on the video each day. So we're still doing reading and math every day. You're still going to need to come to the table with a pencil and your packets, and we'll talk about those each day. So keep watching my YouTube videos just like you've been doing. All right, this book, Thinking About Ants, is what we're going to read today. And so we are going to talk about some things that are in this story. And in just a minute, I'm going to turn the camera around so that we can follow along and you can see the words in the book. And we will do our learning from there. And we'll talk about our week 6 matrix too. Okay, so go ahead and grab your reading packet right here, because you're going to need that when we're done reading our story. So while I'm getting ready and turning the camera around so that we can see the book, go grab your reading packet and a pencil, and you can even grab your math packet and while you're at it, and then we can be all ready to go. Okay, for reading today, we are going to pretend that we're at school, sitting in the story spot with me in my queen chair, and writing on the chart paper that is on the chart in our story spot. So just like I used to do there, I wrote the title at the top, and I'd always put squiggly lines around it, right? So this is the title of our story, which is called Thinking About Ants. And the genre, we'd always talk about the genre, which means what type of book is it? And this book is nonfiction, which means it's going to be a true story and it's going to be full of information or facts. And that reminds me, at the end, when we talk about what your assignment is today, you're going to need to write some facts about ants. So be thinking of some of those things that you would like to write about ants as we read this story. Our focus today, because we always have a focus, what are we learning about in our story, is nonfiction text features. And those nonfiction text features, we've talked a lot about those this year. Maybe it is a picture, or maybe it is a label, or maybe it's a heading, or maybe it's a picture caption. All of those things we've talked about as nonfiction text features throughout the whole year this year, right? So there's 3 things that we're talking about in this story today that are nonfiction text features. The first one are the photos, which are the pictures, because you're going to see pictures in this story. The second thing are labels, and the labels are telling what's going on in the story and in the picture. And the third thing is called a cutaway, and I'll talk to you more about what a cutaway is as we read this story. So a cutaway is something we probably haven't talked a lot about, but we'll talk about that as we read. All right, now I want you to think about, it says think, what do you already know about ants? So if we were at school, we would be doing a KWL chart right now. So let's think of some things, since you can't actually tell me, let's think of some things that you might already know about ants. And I'm just going to write a couple things down that I think you might say. So some of you might say that ants are small. Okay? Some of you might say that ants are black. Some of you might know that ants have 6 legs. Some of you might know that they make an anthill. Maybe that's what you would say. Some of you might say they live underground. Those would all be good examples of something you might know. Some of you might say that they eat food, especially if you're at a picnic and you leave your food out, right? So we could do this for a while, but these are just some things to get you thinking about what you might already know about ants. Now this story, although it's nonfiction, it's written in a special way. So I wrote, this book is written in a special way. Pretend you are an ant. So when we read the story, you're going to see that the author wrote it in such a way that you are going to pretend that you are actually an ant. And the story is going to be written from an ant's perspective. So pretend that you are an ant. All right, and here's our cover. Thinking About Ants by Barbara Brenner, illustrated by Carol Schwartz. So I hope you have your reading packet and a pencil. And remember, you're going to be thinking about nonfiction text features as well as facts about ants. All right. Now here's an idea. For a little while, think about ants. Begin by looking. Get up close to an ant. Study it. Try to put yourself in the ant's place. Think, how would it be to be an ant? Here's the picture of the ant. Look at that up close. First of all, think small, because the largest ant in the world is only about the size of a person's thumb. Whoa. And some ants are small enough to hide inside an apple seed. So think tiny. Okay, so here is where you're going to pretend you're an ant. Okay, now I'm going to actually move the camera, so I hope I don't make you dizzy here, but I want to show you the whole page here so that you can see. If you were an ant, think how big that slice of apple would look, because that's what you're looking at, is a slice of apple. And see how tiny those ants are up against that slice of apple? To them, that apple looks like a big mountain to climb, doesn't it? And if some of them are so tiny that they fit in an apple seed, many of you know that an apple seed's pretty tiny. So ants are pretty small, aren't they? Now think a color. Black, blue, brown, red, yellowish, or green. An ant could be any of these colors. What color ant would you want to be? Now that's an interesting fact, because we might have known that ants were black, but did you know that ants could be red or blue? That might be a fact that you want to think of for the end of the story. Next, think about the body of an ant. Imagine it's outside, light and tough and hard like a shell, not soft like skin. Notice the ant's shape, a body with 3 parts, 6 legs instead of 2. Okay, and I'm going to show you each time I'll move the camera so that you can see the pictures, because it's hard when you don't have the book. So there's the pictures. I'll try to go slow enough that it doesn't make you dizzy. How would it be to have an ant face? 2 huge eyes, a mouth, a pair of scissor jaws to bite and tear with. No ears, no nose. Instead, 2 hairy feelers on your head to wave around like magic wands. They'd catch the smell of something in the air, like food. What do ants eat? Some eat meat, a snack of dead bug, a hunk of worm, a bite of lizard, or an ant will munch on a piece of hot dog left from someone's picnic lunch. We said that, didn't we? Okay, I'm going to show you the picture here. Whoops, my finger got on there. This is kind of hard to read this big book on a video camera. And there's the ants. And look at how tall that piece of cake is. That's another big mountain that they'd have to climb if you were the size of an ant. Wouldn't you think so? And here's a close-up of the other page with the 2 eyes and the mouth and the feelers. No nose or no ears. That might be an interesting fact. Sorry about this. Some ants eat seeds, some eat fruit. Others sip honeydew from tiny aphids. There are even ants that eat each other. Some ants bite. Some ants sting. Others squirt smelly acid when they're scared. If you were an ant, what would you be afraid of? And there's a picture there. I don't have to move the page on this one. That's good. A stomping foot, a hungry flicker, a spiny anteater, heavy rain, bug spray, toads. So all of those things are things that you would be afraid of if you were an ant. But the scariest thing in an ant's life might be another ant that's an enemy. Okay, and here's a picture of a big old frog. Look at how big that frog looks to a tiny ant. Where do ants live? In the dark? Inside a dead tree? Under a rock? So those are all facts about ants and where they live. And this is a picture of a cutaway. This is one of the nonfiction text features that we talked about. And a cutaway means, do you see how it looks like they just sliced the ground, this log in half? This is a log right here. I almost said ground, but this is a log. So it looks like they sliced the log in half and you can see inside that log. That's called a cutaway. They also might live under the ground with a mound of dirt or sand to mark the spot. And this is another really good picture of a cutaway. So this is what it looks like if they lived underground. There's the top of the ground. And it looks like they just took a knife and sliced it in half. And that's what it would look like inside the anthill underground. An ant can live in a house, between the cracks in the floor, or behind the kitchen cupboard door. Even the green stem of a plant can be home to an ant. And there's the picture. That's inside somebody's house, isn't it? Maybe some of you have had ants in your house at one time or another. Think about living in dark places, but imagine lots of company, sisters, brothers, a family, living and working together because an ant can't live alone. And here's another picture of a cutaway inside the stem or a branch. That's a cutaway of what it would look like of the ants inside there. In the ant nest, everyone has a job. What would you do if you were an ant? Would you hunt for food for everyone to share? Would you help to build the nest? Could you carry something twice as big as you? Would you lick the ant eggs and feed the little larvae that hatch out? You. Would you help an ant come out from a cocoon? The ants that do these things are called worker ants. Okay, now, this page is page 22 and 23. And you're going to need to know what's on these pages because that's going to be part of your assignment today. So here is another example of a cutaway. And notice the labels that are in the cutaway. Okay, so ants feeding one another on this picture. The pupa. Here up here it says insects and seeds. Removing dirt from nest to build a new tunnel. Soldier ant guarding the entrance. Okay, and on this next page, this is a cutaway with labels, and we talked about those are two of the three text features that we're talking about in this story. The cutaway, where it looks like the ground was sliced in half and you can see inside, and then the labels as to what the picture means. And then obviously the picture. So this page is a great example of the three nonfiction text features that we're learning about today. And then this page right here is another example. Ooh, that's a good one. There's the queen laying her eggs and the workers tending half-grown larvae. And there's hatching larvae. Can you see they're coming out of the shell that protects it? And workers building a new part of nest. So you're going to need to know this page. Page 22 is right here. And page 23 is right here. So you're going to need to know that for your assignment today. And you're going to probably have to come back and reread my video. Or re-look at it, I should say. Re-watch it. Okay, here we go. We're going to keep reading. There are soldier ants too. They guard the nest. They stand at the entrance alert, swinging their feelers, picking up all strange shapes and smells. And these are the soldier ants. There's not a cutaway on this page, is there? And if an invading army comes, they're fierce. They tear their enemies to pieces with their sharp jaws. A soldier ant can bite a strange bug's head off. And that's an interesting fact, isn't it? Okay, there you go. Now think about the biggest ant in the nest. She's the mother of all the other ants. She's the only one who can lay eggs. All the other ants take care of her because she is the queen. A queen ant may lay 100,000 eggs in her lifetime. One day, she may lay an egg that will hatch into another queen. Like all queens, that ant will have wings. I'll move the camera again and show you this big page. Okay, look at that big queen ant. Look at how huge that ant looks if you were just a regular ant. Look at how big the queen ant looks. Because if you were really an ant, that queen ant would look big. And there is the queen ant with wings. Some damp afternoon, she'll fly away with a group of male ants. They'll mate with her, and soon after that, they'll die. Then the queen will fly off alone to make a nest of her own. She'll lose her wings and begin her work. Nest maker, egg layer, ant mother, and someday she will lay an egg that hatches out a queen. then the whole cycle will begin again. There's the picture of that big, huge queen ant, which really, to us, doesn't look very big, but if you were a tiny ant, it sure would, wouldn't it? That's how it would be to be an ant. And that is the end of our story. So hopefully you learned some facts in this story, because on your matrix, what you have to do for today is you have to write 4 facts you learned from ants, about ants, from the story on page 1 in your reading packet. Draw a picture to go with your facts and upload your work to Seesaw if you can. So this is what it looks like. It's page 1 in your reading packet. And at the bottom it says page 1. So what you have to do is write 4 facts. So my topic, you're going to write ants, because that's what we're talking about. And then you're going to use these 4 spaces to write a fact, 4 different facts that you learned about ants. So you might have to go back and rewatch part of my video in order for you to find the sentence that you want to write down that was a fact. And at the bottom, your activity on Seesaw actually tells you to write your 4 facts and then draw in the box what it looks like inside an anthill. So you might have to go back and find pages 22 and 23, and those were those cutaway pages that I showed you. And then add the labels and tell what's happening. So you don't have to draw both pages. Just pick a little chunk of the page and draw it and label what you are drawing so that I know what you are drawing. Maybe you want to draw the part about the queen ant, or maybe the part about where the larvae are hatching. Choose something from those 2 pages to draw there, and then you're going to upload that on Seesaw. Okay? It was a good story, wasn't it? And hopefully you learned about some nonfiction text features, pictures, labels, and a cutaway. All right, now for math, we are going to go ahead and play a game. Okay, so this is where you need your chart. It looks like this, and it looks like a tic-tac-toe board, doesn't it? And so on your tic-tac-toe board, we are going to play a game. So you need this, and then you need the sheet that had all of the numbers on it, okay? So I cut mine apart already, and in just a few minutes, I'm going to give you a chance to cut your numbers apart, and I'm going to show you how you can play the game too. You're going to play it with a family member, and I'm going to actually ask my husband to play with me. So while I wait for him to come upstairs, cut your squares out, and then I'll show you how to play this math game today. All right, if you've cut out your pieces like I have, and I just put them in any order, it doesn't matter what order. In fact, I'll kind of mix them up because they are kind of in order, so I'm just going to move them around a little. It doesn't matter where they're at. But you're going to take turns with your family member, and you're each going to put a number on your tic-tac-toe board. Okay, there's one rule about this. You can never put a 5 in the middle. The 5 cannot go in the center square, okay? So the goal of this game is to have either 3 numbers up and down that equal 15, or across that equal 15, or diagonal that equal 15. Either way, diagonal. Remember, diagonal is corner to corner. Okay, so I'm going to start, and then my husband's going to play with me. He had to come upstairs because he has an office downstairs in our house. That's where he works. So if you thought it was funny that I said my husband was going to come upstairs, that's why. So I'm going to start with 6, and I'm going to put a 6 right in that corner. Okay? And now he's going to play. He's going to take a turn, and he's going to put a 2. Now, 6 plus 2 is 8. Okay? Now, if you know how to make 15, you would know that if I put a 7 right there, ding, 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 I would win because I got 15, right? So if you're going to, let's pretend we're going to play it again. okay, because I'd already win. All right, so we're going to have my husband start first. He's going to put a 5 here, okay? And let's pretend that I put a 7 right here. Okay, that's 12. Now, let's pretend that he's not thinking, he's not using his strategies, and he sticks a 2 right here. Okay, 5 plus 7 is 12, plus 2 more is 14. And what did I tell you you needed to have to win? 15, that's right. So then we would keep playing. Okay, so now it's my husband's turn again. He's going to grab a number. And he's going to put a 9 there. Okay, now, I don't want to put anything in this corner right here because he already made 16. So there's no way I can win by putting a number here. So I don't want to put a number here. I'm going to try to win by going this way or this way. Okay, so I'm going to put a, let's see here, a 4 right here. Okay, so if I have a 9 here and a 4 here, that's 13. 13 plus 6. Ooh, that's too big. My husband didn't really use a very good strategy, did he? Because he could have won if he would have put a 2 there. But guess what? The 2's already used, so he couldn't do that, could he? Uh-oh, this is going to be a hard game to win. Let's try going this way. Do I have anything left? I have a 5 and a 6 is 11, so I would need a 4 to get 15. Uh-oh, it's already used. This might be a little tricky. Let's try this one. A 2 and a 4 is 6. What do we need to make 15? Uh-oh, we need a 9. We might not be able to win. Let's try another one. Let's put an 8 here. Okay? And now let's see if he can get it. Do another one. A 3. Now, does this equal 15 this way? Nope. That only equals what? 14. Does it equal 15 this way? 7 plus 4 plus 3, that only equals 14. And if I put a 1 here, so guess what? Nobody won this game. So then you try it again. All right? So go ahead and play that with a family member. Remember, the goal is to either get up and down or across or diagonal. You have to have it 15. And the one rule is you can never put a 5 in the middle. Have fun, and we will see you back tomorrow for some more reading and math. Have a great day, second grade.